You're listening to the Core Factors audio library, spoken versions of Core Factors articles and research designed to support accessibility and for listening while commuting, working, or reflecting. This piece is titled Type Dynamics: What Every Type Practitioner Should Be Teaching. The following narration reflects the original content and intent of the written article.
Type Dynamics: What Every Type Practitioner Should Be Teaching. When you deliver a type session, your participants walk away knowing something important about themselves. They have a 4-letter code that captures their preferences, and they have language for differences between people that they have always felt but could not name. That is incredibly valuable, and why personality type has remained a staple of professional development for decades. But there is a layer underneath those preferences that most type sessions never reach, and it changes what practitioners can do with the framework in significant ways. The 4-letter type code is more than individual preferences added together. Each of the 4 letters in the code plays a role in revealing a specific dynamic pattern of cognitive processes, the 8 Jungian processes that describe how a person perceives and decides. The 4-letter type code was built to point to that pattern, and when you know how to read it, the code you guide your clients to select becomes a doorway to a more precise and more impactful conversation. How the type code reveals the cognitive processes. The Jungian model identifies 4 functions: sensing, intuiting, thinking, and feeling. Each operates in 2 attitudes: extroverted, oriented toward the external world, or introverted, oriented toward the inner world. That produces 8 cognitive processes. Every type code reveals a specific arrangement of all 8, called the type hierarchy of functions, ordered from most to least accessible. The first 4 functions form the pattern that shapes day-to-day perception and judgment: the dominant, auxiliary, tertiary, and inferior. You can break the type code of any of the 16 types through the formula outlined below. Start with the last letter. The J or P tells you which of the 2 middle functions is extroverted. J points to the thinking or feeling letter, meaning that judgment function is extroverted. P points to the sensing or intuiting letter, meaning that perception function is extroverted. The remaining middle letter is introverted. Then look at the first letter. E indicates that the extroverted process is dominant. I points to an introverted dominant. Here's the formula expressed for an extroverted type, ENTJ. The J tells you the T thinking is extroverted, making it extroverted thinking, or TE. The N intuiting is therefore introverted, making it introverted intuiting, or NI. The E tells you the extroverted process leads, so extroverted thinking is the dominant process, and introverted intuiting is the auxiliary. And an introverted type of ISFJ. The J tells you the F feeling is extroverted, making it extroverted feeling, or FE. The S sensing is therefore introverted, making it introverted sensing, or SI. The I tells you the introverted process leads, so introverted sensing is the dominant process, and extroverted feeling is the auxiliary. The 4-letter code indicated on the assessments you use and that your clients select in your workshops is the foundation for type dynamics. The cognitive processes are the system the code was built to reveal. What becomes visible with type dynamics? When clients understand the dynamics of type, differences on a team are easier to see and name and therefore navigate. Through the dichotomies, you can tell a team that ENTJ and ISFJ differ on all 4 preferences. That gives useful context for why they approach things differently. Through the cognitive processes, you can show the team the specific pattern underneath each code. For the ENTJ, the dominant process is extroverted thinking, organizing for results. The auxiliary is introverted intuiting, synthesizing meaning and future vision. The tertiary is extroverted sensing, engaging with what's real now. And the inferior is introverted feeling, staying true to personal values. For the ISFJ, the dominant process is introverted sensing, drawing on what's proven. The auxiliary is extroverted feeling, building relationships and group harmony. The tertiary is introverted thinking, refining ideas for precision. And the inferior is extroverted intuiting, exploring possibilities and connections. These 2 types have completely different cognitive process patterns, with no shared processes in the same positions. Through their dominant process, extroverted thinking, ENTJs tend to organize their environment with a drive to bring structure and efficiency to any situation. They are quick to take the lead, analyzing projects and people to achieve objectives effectively, with decision-making that is direct and logical, focused on results. Through their auxiliary, introverted intuiting, an underlying strategic mindset allows them to see patterns and long-term possibilities, plan ahead, anticipate challenges, and create solutions informed by a deep understanding of systems and future potential. Their perception and judgment work together as a system oriented toward structuring the external world according to a long-range internal vision. Through their dominant process, introverted sensing, ISFJs have a strong connection to their past experiences, using them to guide their current actions and decisions. They rely on what has worked before, favoring routines and methods that provide consistency and predictability, and their ability to recall past lessons allows them to anticipate outcomes and manage risks effectively. Through their auxiliary, extroverted feeling, ISFJs are naturally attuned to the emotions and needs of those around them, often prioritizing others' well-being over their own. Their caring and supportive approach helps create harmonious environments where people feel valued and understood. Their perception and judgment work together as a system oriented toward maintaining stability and relational cohesion through proven experience. In a strategy meeting, you might find that the ENTJ is attending to where things are heading, and the ISFJ is attending to how the current situation compares to what has reliably worked before. That is not a communication difference, it is a difference in how each person is perceiving the situation. And when you can name it as a perception difference, the conversation can shift from, "You two see things differently," to, "Each of you is bringing information the other does not have, and this team needs both." That reframe changes how people work together by replacing judgment with curiosity. The 8 processes as a reference framework. Let's begin with the perception processes. These describe how we perceive and take in the world. Extroverted sensing, engaging with what's real now. This process is rooted in the present moment, focusing on immediate sensory details and physical surroundings. Individuals who prefer this process tend to react swiftly to changes and are highly attuned to what is happening around them in real time. Introverted sensing, drawing on what's proven. This process draws on personal history and stored experiences to guide decisions. Those who prefer this process often rely on tried-and-true methods, applying knowledge from the past to current situations for practical and consistent outcomes. Extroverted intuiting, exploring possibilities and connections. This process looks outward for emerging patterns and new possibilities. Those who prefer this process tend to explore multiple ideas at once, make unexpected connections between concepts, and see potential beyond the present moment. Introverted intuiting, synthesizing meaning and future vision. This process looks inward to recognize deeper patterns and long-term implications. Those who prefer this process tend to rely on internal insights, perceive the underlying meaning in things, and develop a focused vision for the future. Now, the judgment processes. These describe how we evaluate and make decisions. Extroverted thinking, organizing for results. This process applies logic to external systems, focusing on efficiency and organization. Those who prefer this process tend to structure their decisions using clear steps, measurable criteria, and practical solutions to achieve objective results. Introverted thinking, refining ideas for precision. This process focuses on internal analysis and logical consistency. Those who prefer this process tend to refine ideas for accuracy, break down concepts to uncover underlying principles, and ensure their reasoning aligns with an internally structured framework. Extroverted feeling, building relationships and group harmony. This process evaluates decisions based on external values and social expectations. Those who prefer this process consider how their choices affect others, aligning with shared norms and prioritizing group cohesion in relationships and environments. Introverted feeling, staying true to personal values. This process evaluates decisions based on deeply held internal values and personal integrity. Those who prefer this process prioritize what feels authentic to them, aligning choices with these values rather than external expectations. How this expands your practice. Return to the ENTJ and ISFJ from the strategy meeting. The ENTJ leader is pushing to restructure the department's workflow, but the ISFJ operations lead is raising concerns, pointing to processes that have worked reliably for 3 years. The room reads this as a clash between resistance and ambition. With the cognitive process layer present, the practitioner can reframe the moment for the team. What is happening right now is two people perceiving the situation through different cognitive processes and contributing different information. The ENTJ is organizing toward a future state, informed by a strategic vision that has already taken shape. The ISFJ is drawing on 3 years of accumulated knowledge about what makes this department run. When she raises concerns about the current workflow, she is not resisting the plan. She is contributing information about what works now that the ENTJ does not prioritize. The question for this team is not whose view is right. The question is how to hold both. That reframe changes the trajectory of the meeting. The ENTJ stops hearing pushback and starts hearing data they do not have. And the ISFJ stops feeling dismissed and starts seeing where their contribution fits in the larger picture. The team stops debating whose instinct is correct and starts asking what information each person is bringing that the team needs to make a better decision. That is what the cognitive process layer makes possible. The same conversation your participants are already having, with language precise enough to change how it lands. Why this matters for the field. Only about 1 in 5 organizations rate the quality of their leadership development as high. Blanchard 2026, page 23. Only 35% of HR organizations report being high-performing at developing their leaders. McLean 2026, page 5. For practitioners who use type as part of their work, the question is worth considering. When your participants leave the room, do they have a label or a framework they can keep building on? The 8 cognitive processes are the foundation on which the type code was built. When that layer is present in your delivery, every type conversation you facilitate becomes more precise, more personal, and more useful. Core factors. Type dynamics is the only instrument designed to introduce psychological type through the cognitive processes. The 13-page participant report teaches the framework before delivering results. Apply for a free pro account to see how it works, or request a demo to walk through the practitioner experience.
This concludes the audio version of this Core Factors article. You can explore the full written version and additional resources at corefactors.com.